sometimes things just happen. Word of advice, check your freezers and check them often. Thanks to my husband for getting this venison cut up for stew meat. This could have ended up not so great. And make sure that you have plenty of meat that is shelf stable. Well, this is not how I planned on starting my day or spending my day. We went and checked the freezers last night, and one of our freezers had tripped a breaker and everything was thawed out or almost thawed out. So we put it on ice, and today is canning day. We have venison and we have 10 meat birds that we raised, so all of that has to be today. So this will be covering several things because we got to get them canned. So that's what we're going to do. And also, I want to say thank you for tuning in to Down on the Homestead. Make sure you click the subscribe button and the little bell so you'll be notified when we upload some new videos. Okay, so first we're going to can or get some venison. He cut these up into chunks, so I'm going to can these by a raw pack method. It's actually really simple. Just take your, like a stew meat. We don't add any spices. You can if you want, but we don't because we're not sure what we're going to use this for. I will add a little bit of salt, and I use canning salt. You can use pink Himalayan salt, but do not use regular table salt. So we're going to do these in quart jars and just pack your venison down in there good. You want to make sure that you leave about a 1 inch, or yeah, about a 1 inch head space. So that's about the beginning of that little top spot. I'm not going to do all these jars right now, so you don't have to watch all that, but I did want to show you how we do a couple of these. And I apologize for the background noise. Wasn't planning on doing this today, and I have the freeze dryer running. I have some sour cream in the freeze dryer, and we have my 3-year-old grandson, our 3-year-old grandson, here today, and he's watching Paw Patrol. So Mimi's a little busy, but anyway, I hope you don't hear too much of that. All right, now when we raw pack this, we do not add any water. It will actually make its own stock, so we don't add any water. But I do add a teaspoon of salt for a quart jar. If you do a pint, it's a half a teaspoon. So, gonna get that done. Like I said, I'm gonna finish this later, but I just want to show you this. All right, I use a little napkin, and it has some white vinegar on it. Just wipe the tops. You want to make sure you don't have any oils or salt or anything like that on the top of the jars. And then I keep my lids in hot water. They're not boiling, just hot. Put that on. Take your rings, fingertip tight. You don't have to crank it down. Just enough to do that there. And I'll finish the rest of the jars and come back when I'm finished. Okay, I ended up with 5 quart jars of the stew meat, the venison. So I will get that in the canner. Alrighty, so I already have my water in my canner. I put 3 quarts of water, which is what my the canner directions say. So 3 quarts of water, and I put a little bit of white vinegar to keep my jars clean because we have well water and you get a little bit of white sediment on the outside of the jars. So These are cold jars, and this is a cold canner, which is cold water, cold everything. All right, so that is in there, and I will put the lid on. Turn that so it faces me so I can see it. I'll turn the canner on high and wait till it starts venting. All right, so actually I did switch my quart jars from this canner to this canner because I realized that I'm fixing to do the sausage and I'm doing those in pint jars, and I'm going to stack those. You can stack pint jars in here, but you can't in here. So I put the quart jars in here and it's starting to vent. I'm going to turn on the timer for 10 minutes. When this reaches 10 minutes, then I will put my gauge on there. We like to add pork sausage to our venison, the ground venison, because it's a little more fat in it, and it tastes a little better. So we just use some of the pork sausage that we had in the refrigerator. Now, when we add our spices, we don't really measure. We just add some sage, whatever he feels like he might like. And then he'll take some garlic powder, and you can never have too much garlic. Like I said, he doesn't measure. He just puts whatever he thinks is going to be good. So then we use some pink Himalayan salt. It's actually not as much as you think, since he has to do the grinder on that. He just adds some to taste. We don't measure. And then our grandson, he kind of wanted to help. But after you get your spices in, like I said, you can add whatever you want. If you add other things, that's fine. So once he gets everything in there that he likes, then he just takes and mixes it with his hands and gets all that nice tasting spices and gets it all in there and gets it ready to patty out. And what we do is, once it's mixed, he flattens it out on a cutting board, and then we take a cookie cutter and we actually can put it right inside of a large mouth lid. So that way we know that the sausage patties will fit in a wide mouth jar. So once he gets all that done, then we will get that on the grill. Now you can do these in the oven if you would like. We like to do it on the grill. Some of the fat, kind of comes off of there. But we don't do these completely cooked through. They're about 50% cooked. So they'll finish up in the jar. All right, so while the stew meat is venting, I'm going to go ahead and start the sausage that we made. We mixed the venison sausage with some pork sausage. So we cooked them part of the way through. Just take those, simple, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 6 in a jar. So we do this, just lay them right in there. 4, 5, 6, because you want to leave 1-inch headspace at the top. I'm gonna put one more jar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it depends how thick your sausage is. Sometimes the store-bought sausage shrinks up a little bit more than this, but we got 6 in here, and that's just the right amount of headspace. So I'm going to leave it at that. All right, so I'm going to take some hot water. It's not boiling hot, but it's pretty hot. I'm going to fill this up to about a 1-inch headspace. And I'm not going to add salt because we actually added that when we mixed up the sausage. A little bit too much water in there, just about a 1-inch headspace. And then I'm going to, once again, wipe the rims with a little rag, napkin, with some white vinegar to make sure that this is clean. All right. That is still venting, so it should be ready in a minute. And these are my hot lids. They're not boiling, just I like them warm. Put those on. This is really nice to have. Perfect example is what happened when they're in the freezer. Power goes out for long periods of time. You don't have to worry about your meat going bad. We've been meaning to get a lot of the meat out of our freezer, but we haven't. But now we have to. So I'm going to finish up the rest of these, and then that should be ready to put the weight on in just a few minutes. Alrighty, I'm gonna get those in there. These sausage patties. All right, so I have 5 at the bottom. Gonna take a tray. You have to do that, keep them off the other ones. And the rest. All right, so got them all in there. Put the lid on. Turn that on high. And wait till it starts venting. All right, so now that this is jiggling, I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit from high to about halfway down. But if it starts slowing down, I have to turn it back up. You gotta just play with your gauges. But I will now start my timer at 90 minutes. I know it's a long time, but that's what you're supposed to do. So like I said, I'll just keep turning this down until it keeps a steady, slow rocking. And just make sure, because if it stops, you have to start your time all over from the beginning. So it's important to just stay close, make sure that it's just a little bit of rocking like that. Now this one's different. When we get to that point, this one has a regular gauge, and this actually has a little arm that when it reaches 10, for me, 10 pounds, it has to stay about 10, 11. I like it at about 11 in case it fluctuates some. So, but we're not there yet on this. This one's still heating up. So we'll come back. Alrighty, so this one is, well, a little over 10, so I will drop the temperature, and you just got to really watch this. I like to keep it between 10 and 11. So now the pint, these are pints, not quarts, so these will pressure can for 75 minutes. So I will start my timer and we will be back. All right, so the little valve has dropped down in the back, and we will open this canner. Always open your canner away from your face. And then we will let this sit for about 5 minutes, let it cool off a little bit. Then I'll remove the jars, and then I'll bring you back when all of it's finished. Okay, everything is out of the canner. We have venison sausage patties and the venison stew beef. So I decided I'm going to make a second video to the loss or almost loss that we had in our freezer. So make sure you watch the second one. That'll be canning raw chicken on the bone. I have some 2 chickens in the roaster we're going to pick off and freeze dry, and I'll show you how to do that too. So stay tuned for the second one, and thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, like, and click that little bell so you'll make sure you'll not miss any videos that we post. Make sure you get your house in order, and have a blessed day.